Chaotic greetings to you. Have you ever been scrolling on either Instagram or TikTok and stopped when you saw something just so amazing you knew you wanted to make it yourself? That is exactly what happened to me when I was scrolling through Instagram the other day and saw this video.
It is by Sid Swisher, and it shows how she makes these amazing pieces of art from old fabric.
But of course, we're not going to do just any fabric on this canvas. We're going to pick one of my amazing pieces of vintage to put on there. Now, the real trick is finding the right piece, because this is going to commemorate a very special fall trip that I have planned. So I think something in the spooky section has got to be the winner. No. Funny, but no. Now, wait a minute. I think this has got to be the winner. Because here's the kicker. I am pretty sure this is modern fabric, which means I am less inclined to be having issues with gluing it to a canvas. Because yes, when the original poster tells you to iron the fabric, you iron the fabric. They know what they're talking about, and I'm just winging it, so I'm going to follow their instructions. Am I a GIF yet? Now that's all done, we have a fabric big enough to cover our canvas, and a second angle that is not turned on. So now, canvas, fabric, larger than canvas. Check. Then the original poster was like, cut it down to size. Did I bring scissors with me? Of course not. Why would I have those? Because I said just to leave enough around the edges so I don't need to waste all of this fabric. So I'm just going to give it a gentle cut to kind of make it slightly bigger than the canvas. Now, with this all trimmed down, basically, you just lay it here and pour a crap ton of gesso on it. Because they were like, some people Mod Podge it, but this person, the one I watched in particular, was like, no, just clear gesso. I was like, okay, literally what they do in the video. Now, obviously, we need time for this to dry, right? Because it needs to soak through the fabric and onto the canvas.
Wrong.
And because I thrifted this fabric, I have no idea what this is. I just think it's a cool sound. Now, the kicker is that you can't just do one and done. This is going to take 3 layers of gesso. And honestly, if it looks a little hazy, a little foggy, it's not the end of the world. But I do have to let it dry between all the layers. And while it's drying, let me tell you about the sponsor of today's video, June's Journey. In case you haven't heard of June's Journey, it is a hidden objects mystery game where we follow our heroine, June Parker, as she discovers who killed her sister. And with each level that you play, you actually are learning more about the storyline and the characters in the game.
Personally, I love to play this game when I'm feeling a little extra frustrated at a project, or when I'm waiting for things to dry, because it gives me a sense of accomplishment in something small, and it's super fun to know where everything is by the time you get to that 5-star level.
You can also play these extra hidden games, like the detective sequence, where you and a whole bunch of your friends go through and try and figure out who robbed whichever museum got robbed this time. I can't wink, I'm sorry. And then from there, you can use the compasses and flowers to go up in level and to grow your island. And I love how artistic this game is, because I wanted to add a nice new fence for part of my Halloween season from this past October. And to do that, all I have to do is go into the store, get my object, put it in where it wants to go, et voila. A couple hours later, now it's mine. So if you want to download June's Journey for yourself, make sure that you are clicking the link down below in my description box,
Or scanning the QR code.
because this game is available on Android, iOS, and PC. And thank you to June's Journey for sponsoring today's video. But now, let's go see if my layer is dry. Well, I can say the gesso really, it didn't work for me. So I did have to go through last night and Mod Podge this so it wouldn't actually come off. But it is now all glued down which means that it is time to castle. Can castle be a verb? I think in chess it can. But I can hear you asking yourself, Stephanie, why do you keep teasing this castle thing? What is with the spooky background and the potential castle that's going to go onto it? Well, friends, I have really exciting news. I and 23 of my closest people who want to come with me, aka you, get to go on a costumes and castle tour in Ireland. I'm not excited about this at all. Springfield Castle reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to be a lead on one of their costumes and castle tour group shenanigans. I don't really know what to call it. All I know, it's gonna be fun! Because for 8 days and 7 nights, me and you are gonna go touring through Southwest Ireland. All while taking pictures and hanging out in our fanciest fun outfits. You guys, it's like dressing up like Barbie all day long for a week in Ireland. And P.S., our photographer is going to be the one and only Christina with Love. That's right, my very best friend in the world is gonna be our photographer, and I'm so stoked to take us all around Ireland in our fun, fancy outfits and get to do all types of cool things together. And because it is me and I am extra fall, as now you all know because I'm born literally the day before Halloween, our trip will be September 25th through October 2nd, which I have been told by the lovely folks that run it that there is a very high likelihood we get to be leaf peepers in Ireland because supposedly all the leaves are supposed to be changing by then. Squeals in Floridian who hasn't seen real leaves change in far too long. And a quick breakdown of our trip is going to be 5 days we are going to be spending touring and sightseeing, taking photos of Ireland, and 2 days will be spent learning new crafting techniques from local traditional craftspeople. One of which is going to be needle felting, which I have been trying to wrap my brain around because the last time I tried that, it did not go well. So I'm really excited to go learn new techniques as well as get to go taste awesome food, which is fully covered in what you pay, because all of the meals are provided in the fee that you pay, as well as a little bit of the spicy adult beverages, if you get my drift. I'm not gonna wink, I'm terrible at it, we all know this. And I've also opted to switch one of their more traditional fares with a discussion about Irish Samhain.
Samhain.
There will also be a super fun game show night, which will be hosted by me. So if you want to fly on over to Shannon, Ireland and join me and Christina for 8 days and 7 nights, make sure you email your note of interest to costumesandcastles@springfieldcastle.com and use the line Stephanie Canada trip because the minimum number of people that can join us are 10 and the max the tour can hold is 23. So if you and a friend want to share a room, that would be the time to note that as well. Which all of this will be linked in a Patreon post that is free so that you all can go back and reference it as much as you want. But don't wait, because the booking period starts right now through December 6th. So make sure that you email relatively quickly so that you can definitely get your slot. And while the room prices do vary, the €1,000 deposit would be due at the end of the booking period should we get 10 folks to go along with us. Ireland, Ireland, Ireland. But now let's put Springfield Castle on this canvas, because I'm manifesting a trip in 2026 with 23 of my closest friends and Christina. And how am I gonna make this castle? With trash! So the goal is to build this partial facade from this little tower to this edge and showcase this big tower right here in the background. So I'm first gonna take this box of crispy rice that I used during my last project. I'm just gonna cut it right up the middle because I want to use this cardboard section here and sort of raise it away from the edge of the painting. So about 1 inch or so. And then looking at this, I kind of want the entirety of Springfield Castle to be the size of this box, except for the little tower on the side that I think will just be foam stacked up.
So I went about making it smaller and smaller until I got the right size.
Yeah.
Not this time.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Ah, yes, much, much better, because now this plus a tower plus the little blue pieces on top, I think this will look much nicer. Base size figured out. Now, let's find a front view so I can kind of sketch out the front of this.
And find a front view I did, so I got to sketching. My next step was to trace the back piece the same size as the front piece.
All right, base is vaguely cut out, and I did want to go with a more sturdy back so I can glue it to this. So it'll go like this together, because I want room for some lighting. But first, I must cut out my windows. And now with those all cut out, I want to add little windows because it has that lovely white of the like sills and all the trimmings, as it were. Originally I had a lettuce container. I don't know where it went. I think it got thrown away, or my child stole it for her crafts, unknown. So I found an egg carton and some old takeout containers. I'm just saying, I have a vaguely bad feeling about this, so we're gonna try. Here we go. Please don't melt, please don't melt, please don't melt, please don't melt. Did you dry already? I think it might have dried a little bit. That's exciting in a way that I wasn't anticipating. I mean, no, it's sort of on there. Might put a little more, like, under the edges where I can get to it, maybe. Because that doesn't feel like it's glued down. Like I said, that doesn't feel like it's glued down. I just popped that entire corner up. Not helpful! Listen, I'm gonna put so much hot glue in there that you're definitely gonna stay. And then I'm not gonna mess with you.
Sure, Jan.
I said I'm gonna let it go, and then I immediately put more hot glue down. That's fine. Okay, well, that only went so well. Let's try the thinner one, which makes me slightly more nervous. Make it thicker. Make it thicker. Go, 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 go. Hot. Now I put too much glue. We swung the other way. It's fine. It's fine. It's also definitely melting and warping because it's too hot because I used too much glue this time. Well, good thing it's on the inside. We got some windows and some stringy thingies, which I'll get rid of. Now, it did sort of secure the top section, but I am going to put some cardboard structures, I think. So I'm just gonna cut a little bit extra cardboard, hot glue those together, and then painting. So now while that dries, let's go ahead and give ourselves a little background on this here fine canvas in the style of the Instagrammer. Because you see, what I want on this is a definition space so I know where my castle is actually going to go. And I'm gonna do that by finding all these little lines and kind of making a little sky situation, but it's gonna be moody and gray and amazing. You know, the exact opposite of Florida.
I think I want it to go up and around here.
And now while this is drying, let's head over to Michael's to go investigate their miniatures section because I have a need for something teeny.
Ooh. Ah.
The next day.
And unfortunately, this is the day where I woke up sick, so me and my emotional support water bottle decided to just do this all voiceover style. With my first task being acquiring my staple gun, so that I could tack down those little wiggly sides. And then I moved on to tracing out my back piece so that I wouldn't waste the paint and make more trees than necessary. Now I started with a fan brush because I thought that would give me the look that I was going for. Unfortunately, I would be incorrect in this assumption, because it gave it a much more feathered and rounded look than what I was looking for. So then I switched to a square-tipped brush, thinking that that might help my definition problem that I had. Unfortunately, that did not give me the achieved effect either, because then it was just like tiny little blobs that were all vaguely together and not really, I'm glad I painted over it, let's put it that way. But with both vague tree-shaped blobs aligned, it was time to let them dry. Now from there, I wanted to try a technique that I saw on Instagram as well, which is giving it this wash haze situation that sort of mimics fog. So I poured some white paint and used a lot of water to give myself a very milky, watery white to wash over these once they had dried. And while I originally thought the sky might look good just being gray, I did decide to add in some blue to help it give some definition, because I just wasn't feeling how dark it was. And then came my saving grace, the sponge. Because I wanted to add another layer of trees in front of the haze so that it looked like some of the trees were farther away in a hazy background. And we can't forget the tiny trunks.
Good morning. I still don't feel good, but I'm here. Also, there's really no makeup on my face because my eye is also acting weird, so you get what you get today. However, what you also get is a painting that is dry. Ain't it grand? I would change a couple things, but at this point in time, I think I'm happy enough with it that I'm gonna move forward with attaching some stuff. And I think this little wooden thing might become very useful. So once I figure out where to poke the hole for the lighting, I will then go ahead, put this onto the painting like so, and then I'll probably actually just staple this thicker piece of cardboard on and then figure out how to hot glue onto this, because don't trust this to not just go at, you know, the slightest breeze. I also have my trash, which is gonna be the decoration. Where did it go? Castle front. Oh, here you are. On this stuff. Because it's missing the dimension, right? Like, we're very flat. We have no dimensionality. So I want to make little details and through here. And also I opted to gesso this once and it kind of warped. Listen, I'm aware this is a cereal box and I don't know what I was really expecting, but I don't think I was expecting that. I just needed something light that wouldn't fall off, but my brain isn't functioning, so I'm not really clear what's next. Wow, this is gonna be a great video today. I think what's next is cutting out all the little pieces and hot gluing them on. So let's do that. And now, while that is a-drying, let's figure out the lights. Because this nice little light strand, I think, was left over from one of my many projects on here, and it has a very small, lightweight battery. My goal with these are to poke a itty bitty little hole in my canvas here, leave the battery pack on the back so that way I can switch them on and off as I will and not have to, you know, completely disassemble the thing every single time I want to get into it. And then cut off what I don't need and thread each of these into a little window so it looks like a little candle is sitting there. So I think for security purposes, it should go right. Oh, lower, lower, lower. There. Oh, that was underwhelming. Go through the canvas. Go through the canvas. You are not on the wood. There we go. There we go. Ta-da! I don't know if you can see that. Okay, tiny hole punctured. X-Acto knife put far away so it can't roll onto my foot. Because now I will see if this actually fits through. Let's see. What do we think? We think it needs to go a little more. And with the amount of paint that's on here, I'm really not worried about any fraying because I'm not gonna take these in and out more than this one time. Now, how we go? We go through? We no go through. Why we no go through?
A few moments later.
Now we have a tiny little flap right there. There. Now, we have dangle bits. That sounded weird. And I can tuck my little pack. Oh, look at that, right there. And now, the truth of the matter is, where did I actually put it? Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Because then we still have room for tower. Bam! You are going to be huge. I'm going to need to cut this down. I need to cut a hole right here, but not through the lights. Oh, that's less satisfying.
Here's Johnny.
Now, we feed this through. Okay, and now I can figure out where to staple. Staple gun. I'm not gonna fire it without it being on contact with something, because I went to theater school and I know better. Crossbar is there. Here we go. Will I regret this? I don't know.
And this was the point where I realized I needed attachment flaps for the sides, not only just the bottom. So I did cut out 2 more pieces and I glued them on. Then it was time to glue my tower together in the best shot I'm sure you've ever seen on YouTube. it decided to focus on my elbow. I'm not really clear why. But I was able to get the tower all put together. And the next day set off into the world of painting, where I used my acrylic paints again and a fair amount of water to give it that sort of wash look so that the lines wouldn't be quite so harsh. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to mimic the weathered front of the castle so that it doesn't feel quite so one-dimensional. Then I used my trusty sponge to go ahead and lay down some paint as a base before I added in some textural details. However, I wasn't 100% sure that this was the correct choice.
I'm just gotta be in the trust the process phase, because right now, I'm not, but I just have to trust the process. Trust the process. Trust the process! I'm talking to myself now. I'm not actually yelling at you, I promise.
And my final step was to add these wonderful leaves so that I could mimic the vines on the front of the castle. And then because I didn't want my castle just hanging out in mid-air, I did want to give it a grass base. So I used some 1-inch soft foam and sort of modeled it away to sort of look like a hill. I stapled one side down then I hot glued it to the canvas. And stapled the other side down. From there, I took some browning grass, which is basically just paper with some flocked nylon on top to look like dead grass. I made sure to staple it all the way around, kind of folding it like a present along the bottom. But unfortunately, to get the top to hold, it just meant holding it there with hot glue. Good thing I have very long fingers.
Okay, so my original idea for the lights was to put it in the castle, like right under the window, so it would like glow like a little candle. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Nope. But we can attach them to the back low enough that maybe it still gives the same idea. Because I don't know who I was thinking, like, you can't attach it and then like, it's cardboard, Canada, let's be so real.
Then it was time to glue down my tower. And once I was sure the tower was stuck, it was time for the teeny things.
Oh, those smell weird. Don't like that.
I will say these were really great to hide the really ugly line from the grass to the painting. 10 out of 10.
And it's done! Ta-da! So I think I actually ended up building more of a diorama than a 3D painting because there was way less paint and way more crafting and other tiny miniature things, which, in case you're wondering, miniatures can be very addictive, and I fear I need to do more of them now because it was really super duper fun. But overall, I am super stoked with how this project came out. I cannot believe that this was but trash mere days ago. And no, it's definitely not perfect. However, there's a lot in here that I put a lot of my heart and soul into, and honestly, at the end of the day, isn't that really why we're here? So I do hope that you will consider joining me on this trip. Don't forget that all the information with all of the breakdown, the cost, where we're going, will be linked at my Patreon, patreon.com/StephanieCanada, in a completely free post, so that you can, at your leisure, go review it as you will. But if you know right now that you are interested, make sure that you email costumesandcastles@springfieldcastle.com and put the title Stephanie Canada Trip. And don't forget that if you want to play June's Journey with me, you can download it for free at the QR code right here, or you can click the link below down in my description, because it is available to play on Android, iOS, and PC. And thank you to June's Journey for sponsoring today's video. But now, let's go check out the final reveal. But see, we're not just going to do any piece of fabric. We're going to do, oops, gotta find the break. Your vertical video platform.